A couple of rounds fired off in the dark a kilometer away, and the elephant would be there, kneeling on my chest, sending me down into my boots for a breath. Once, I thought I saw a light moving in the jungle, and I caught myself just under a whisper saying, "I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this." That's when I decided to drop it and do something else with my nights. And I wasn't going out like the night ambushers did, or the LRPs, long-range recon patrollers who did it night after night for weeks and months, creeping up on VC base camps or around moving columns of North Vietnamese. I was living too close to my bones as it was. All I had to do was accept it. Anyway, I'd save the pills for later, for Saigon, and the awful depressions I always had there. I knew one 4th Division LRP who took his pills by the fistful, downs from the left pocket of his tiger suit and ups from the right, one to cut the trail for him and the other to send him down it. He told me that they cooled things out just right for him, that he could see that old jungle at night like he was looking at it through a starlight scope. "They sure give you the range," he said. This was his 3rd tour. In 1965, he'd been the only survivor in a platoon of the Cav wiped out going into the Ya Drang Valley. In '66, he'd come back with the Special Forces, and one morning after an ambush, he'd hidden under the bodies of his team while the VC walked all around them with knives, making sure. They stripped the bodies of their gear, the berets too, and finally went away, laughing. After that, there was nothing left for him in the war except the LRPs. "I just can't hack it back in the world," he said. He told me that after he'd come back home, the last time he would sit in his room all day, and sometimes he'd stick a hunting rifle out the window, leading people and cars as they passed his house, until the only feeling he was aware of was all up in the tip of that one finger. "It used to put my folks real uptight," he said. "But he put people uptight here too. Even here." "Nah, man, I'm sorry, he's just too crazy for me," one of the men in his team said. "All you gotta do is look in his eyes. That's the whole fucking story right there." "Yeah, but you better do it quick," someone else said. "I mean, you don't want to let him catch you at it." But he always seemed to be watching for it. I think he slept with his eyes open, and I was afraid of him anyway. All I ever managed was one quick look in, and that was like looking at the floor of an ocean. He wore a gold earring and a headband torn from a piece of camouflage parachute material, and since nobody was about to tell him to get his hair cut, it fell below his shoulders, covering a thick purple scar. Even at division, he never went anywhere without at least a .45 and a knife, and he thought I was a freak because I wouldn't carry a weapon. "Didn't you ever meet a reporter before?" I asked him. "Tits on a bull," he said. "Nothing personal." But what a story he told me, as one-pointed and resonant as any war story I ever heard. It took me a year to understand it. Patrol went up the mountain. One man came back. He died before he could tell us what happened.